What will they say about me? What if they think I'm weird? What if I fail? What if I succeed? Are you afraid to put yourself out there, fearing someone else's opinion of you? You aren't alone. Today on the podcast, I'm going to chat with you all about embracing vulnerability and putting yourself out there. This show is one near and dear to my heart because I am this person. This show is me. I hope that if you are listening to this episode and you see yourself in this, that you find the motivation to do it anyways. So if you're ready to stop worrying about what other people think, start embracing who you truly are, and owning your space in the world, this episode is for you. Let's dive in.
You're listening to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast, where we invite you to check your ego at the app, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to dive into all things real estate marketing, social media, friendship, hardship, love, money mindset, and all the things that celebrate you as a badass boss babe.
We're here to encourage you, show up for you, give you a loving kick in the pants when you need it most, and be your soft place to land on the hardest of days. So pull up a seat at our table and get ready to be inspired and start living your best life by design.
Welcome to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast. We are so excited you're here.
Okay, girls, let's dive in.
Are you afraid to put yourself out there, fearing what others think? Maybe they're not even friends, peers, maybe they're family. Maybe they're other people in business with you. Maybe they're friends. Maybe you just don't know why you are stuck and afraid to embrace vulnerability and finally start doing that one thing that you truly want to do. You aren't alone. Even the biggest influencers out there are struggling with imposter syndrome. And I know sometimes hearing you aren't alone isn't enough. So I'm going to share a few ways of how to break through this cycle of telling ourselves that we just can't put ourselves out there because we're too scared, and actually give you the permission to do so anyways. So if you're ready to embrace who you truly are, embrace vulnerability, and find ways to put yourself out there, even when you are scared shitless, this episode is for you. Now, I want to start with saying that this episode is so near and dear to my heart. I wrote notes for this episode so long ago, and I've added notes to it, and I left it in my notebook, and I couldn't figure out why I just didn't want to ever hit record. And I think I finally found the answer. This episode is so close to who I am. It is so close to my deepest rooted fears that it was so scary to do it. So today I'm going to share very openly with you how you can actually break through this, just like I am recording this episode, and show up for you, for your clients, for the world in a way that maybe you haven't before. So today we are going to break down 5 ways that you can embrace vulnerability, embrace who you truly are, and put yourself out there no matter what. Are you ready? Okay, so number 1, and this is the most important one of all, is truly understanding and believing that you aren't alone. Even the biggest influencers out there, if you head to Instagram and you find someone with over 1 million followers, trust me when I say they struggle with this too. Imposter syndrome can be a beast. You aren't alone. And I hope in understanding that you aren't alone, you actually feel a little more seen. And when you understand that anyone out there putting themselves out there in any way, whether it be on social media, whether it be through email marketing, whether it be in person, whether it be in just how you communicate with others and show up in this world. It's risky, right? It is very vulnerable. It can be really scary. But unless we do it, we will never get to see what's on the other side. So understanding first that you aren't alone and that almost everyone struggles with this is the foundation of what we truly need. Number 2, putting yourself out there. Don't jump with both feet in. Now, a lot of times you have heard me say on this podcast or through any marketing that we've been chatting about or working with the team that just jumping full on in is the way to go. Here, If you're feeling like tightness in like your tummy and it just doesn't feel good when you think about posting on social media or sharing anything like about you that might truly make you that's unique, or something vulnerable at all, or even just putting your face out there into the world, if that kind of feels a little weird in your tummy, then take baby steps. Don't just dive all in. And I'm not trying to give you a pass here by any means. I'm all about getting stuff done. If you've been listening to this podcast for a minute, you'll know that I'm all about checking stuff off a list and getting stuff done and actionable items. But taking those small steps and exercising that muscle that you truly need to be able to do this takes practice. And once we continue to exercise that muscle of doing it over and over and over again, we reprogram our brain that it's safe, that it's okay. So this is one time where I'm saying, start small, take those baby steps. The muscle of consistency and showing up is what we need to work here. So what can you do to create that new pattern in your brain? I show up. I am consistent. When you continue to do this, your brain is going to recognize that it's safe. It's safe. I can show up authentically. I can show up as myself. I can put my face out there, regardless if I need to lose 5 pounds or if I have on the perfect outfit or if my hair is styled just right. Or if my house is in perfect condition. It doesn't matter. When we continue to exercise that muscle, our brain recognizes that doing this is safe, and it does get easier. It just does. Number 3, look around. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who you surround yourself with matters. And this is something that, we've been hearing forever and ever, right? Who you surround yourself with matters. The 5 people around you are the most important. It's the reality. They truly are. If your entire circle around you isn't holding space for you, they aren't celebrating you in a public way. Let me say that again. They aren't celebrating you in a public way. Now, I'm not saying all your friends and your peers that support you need to be on social media and actively doing that. But if they aren't showing up for you and vocalizing that they truly are proud of you and showing their support in a public way that others can see, that you feel surrounded by that love, and they aren't cheering you on, I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's a close friend. I don't care if it's a close family member. I don't care if it's someone that you work with. They are not your circle, and it is time to reevaluate who you spend your time with. This is hard. This is deep stuff. If this one is resonating with you especially, really have some time and think about who I'm spending most of my time with. And why I'm giving so much energy to them. Is it because I think I need to? Is it because I think I should be? Or is it because I truly want to be? Ask yourself those questions. Those who truly love you, who care about you, will want the best for you, and will take sincere interest in your life, and will act accordingly. If you take anything from this episode, please take that with you. Number 4. This one is, I want to say it's a no-brainer, but honestly, aren't we all guilty of this? Stop overthinking it. Goodness, I've been working with businesses for years and years and years now. And this is probably the one thing that comes up over and over again, overthinking it, overcomplicating it. I am so guilty of this myself. How can we stop this cycle of it doesn't have to be so perfect. We don't have to have the whole process, the whole idea all fleshed out before we actually execute. Stop overthinking it. You don't need a precise plan to start sharing your story. You just don't. You can just start. I'm telling myself this repeatedly because, again, this episode is so me. If you are feeling this, I am right there with you. You don't need that fleshed out plan, that precise plan to simply start sharing your story. Now, if you want to dive into more on storytelling and the power in your story, which I truly believe your story is your most powerful marketing tool, head back to episode 14, The Power of Your Story and Why It Matters. That'll show you how to truly show up as you are, authentically, and engage with clients, build your brand, and build your business. Episode 14, head back and check it out. Okay, number 5, acceptance. My gosh, I'm getting goosebumps just saying this. If we could just accept things and move on, wouldn't life be so much easier? But it's so hard, right? So accepting that this is really hard. If this is hard for you, accept this is hard. It is not going to be easy for me to show up. It might be easier someday. Most likely it will be once we exercise that consistency muscle, once our brain knows it's safe. If we are programmed that showing up authentically and vulnerably is not safe, this is going to take a minute. So accepting that it really is hard. Also, you can do hard things. You can. If you've made it this far in business, if you've made it to this podcast, this is telling me that you absolutely can do hard things and you are craving more. This is your permission to go out and get it. So accepting it, being honest with yourself, this is hard, and doing it anyway. Lose sight of the shore and just leap. This is the time to do it. Lean into those who are doing the same thing for support. Like I previously mentioned, we are all in this together. It is hard. Even the biggest influencers, even the biggest role models that are showing up for us and engaging with us and creating businesses and brands that we truly love and are really inspired by, they are struggling with this. They're doing hard things. We can do hard things. If we want that big thing, we have to do the hard thing. So this is the time. So instead of making excuses of why we cannot put ourselves out there, why we cannot be vulnerable, why our story doesn't matter, why we have nothing important to say, all the ways that we tell ourselves that we're not unique, that we don't have something to really give, that no one wants to hear from us. Let's quiet that chatter and go back to these 5 simple, but not easy, I'm not going to call them easy, but they are simple, ways on how we can show up and engage with our clients in a way that we could have never before. Okay, so going back, number 1, you aren't alone. You aren't alone. Do this even though it's hard. Number 2, take baby steps. This is your permission to take those baby steps, exercise that muscle, that this is safe, I can do this, I can be consistent, and this is the road through. Number 3, look at who you are surrounding yourself with. If there is anyone in your circle, I don't care if they're family, friends, peers, anyone, that is not truly supporting you in a public way, it is time to reconsider how much time you're spending with them. Number 4, stop overthinking it. My goodness, the analysis paralysis. Just stop doing it and execute anyways. Number 5, accept that this is hard for you, and that's okay. Be honest with yourself and remind yourself that you can do hard things. I hope this episode was inspiring for you. I hope these tidbits that I'm sharing with you today are resonating and they are something that you can take with you so you can show up in the world truly as yourself and start actually executing. I am here with you. I'm feeling your pain. We're going to do this together. So hit me up on social if you have any questions. I would love to start a conversation with you. Head to our show notes for more details. And until next time, remember to keep your face off a bus bench and keep being the badass boss babe that you are, because you are worthy of showing up as yourself.
Okay, girls, are you feeling as inspired as we are? We're over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of the Girl, Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast.
If you want more, head over to girlgetyourfaceoffabusbench.com for show notes and more episodes. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. They mean the world to us and they're what keep us going.
Girl, thanks for being here.